That sounds like really problematic, doesn't it? The worst orders are when somebody
Except
palatable.
for the one time a guy or
so this is certainly like our martini serve. I think it's probably the best way to think of it. It's probably, I think, of all the drinks on the menu, it's the one that certainly is the most collaborative between Liam and myself, as we were using two different ingredients to try two different types of drink, and we ended up using them together, and this is one of our favorites on the menu. It has been a little divisive. I think it's certainly like an industry favorite. But it's made, it's like quite a classic martini with two distillates in it. So we distill kombu at a slightly higher temperature than the rotovap can do. So we use a rotovap that would allow us to distill at colder temperatures. In this case, we increase temperature a little bit more, so we get this really nice sort of chalkiness, earthiness from the kombu. And then heartleaf is like a Vietnamese herb. It also goes by the name fish mint. It kind of looks like ground ivy, and it has this interesting kind of omega-3 oil aroma to it. So we distill that at a lower temperature. So it's sort of, the base note comes from the kombu, leaving this like oceanic kind of chalkiness, this coastal, and then we put in like this really intensely mineral flavor from the heartleaf. And then we make a very simple martini just using those. It's delicious. It's so aromatic, earthy, chalky. Until it's ready. I think there's certainly argument for like standardization, but there's various different factors. There's how the condition of the ice, right? The condition of the products, the ambience of the room. So it's until it's cold, until it's diluted. And then we just finished this with a small nasturtium leaf, which just brings in some peppery notes. So this is our hibiscus and guaiac. So it's like a spiced hibiscus tea with mezcal, guaiac chili, and a vermouth that we made in collaboration with Valdoria called Verdant, which is made using red vein sorrel. So this kind of, the idea here is to kind of sort of touch on those kind of warm South American flavors. There's some cacao nib in the hibiscus cordial that we make. So the idea is kind of having a little bit of heat to it, a little bit of spice, but not too much. The guaiac itself is quite aromatic and not particularly spicy. And then we bring some acidity using our vermouth and a little bit of acid in the cordial. And it's got this beautiful, vivid red color. Oh my God, that looks so beautiful in the daytime. And then we just finished that off with a little bit of red vein sorrel on the top of the glass. I'm Chris Tanner, I'm the General Manager at Silverleaf, and I came here from Milroy's.
Yeah, so my name's Liam Broom and I'm the bar manager here at Silverleaf, and I definitely come from more of a high volume background, most well known for being the bar manager of Kalukalei for 5 years.
And when did you start to become the bartender that you are, and what's inspiring you?
I was, I guess, formally trained by two great bartenders and who at a time when I wasn't sure if it was, when I was just kind of having a job, it was something that they really inspired me to take seriously, and I really fell in love with the industry. And I just remember sort of making that conscious decision that this is what I was going to do, make a career out of it. And then before that, so I was working in a dive bar, and then I was freelancing in the fashion industry as well before, and I was living in Tokyo and Paris, and then I moved back to London.
We have the fashionista bartender.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it.
Don't put that on your PR spiel.
Yeah. Fashions bartender.
Fashionista bartender opens fashion bar.
And then how about Leo?
Yeah, so I've been in the bar industry for over a decade now. I'm originally from Bath, and I was working in a small pub there. The owner was originally from Manchester, where he owned a small cocktail bar. And he saw the potential in me, and he said, if you really want to be successful in the hospitality industry, you should move to London. So I moved here just over a decade ago and never looked back.
What is the first cocktail that you made in your life?
Great question. I think it was probably a Cosmopolitan. I think it probably had a sugar rim. And I think I probably used the soda water gun to stick 2 plastic sip straws to the side of it.
A classic,
really,
classic trick.
Really thought it was the pinnacle of mixing drinks there. But.
Strong.
How's that taste like?
Oh, hot garbage, I think.
That's delicious.
What's yours, Chris?
I haven't got a clue.
Come on.
Probably a mojito, to be honest with you. My first bar job was in like a club in Camden at like the mojito's heyday. So I can imagine the first thing that I was ever shown how to make or ever made was probably a mojito. So I used to churn out thousands of them a night.
So when did you guys start going into like this project?
So I started in 2019, the end of 2019. So it's been 2 years in the making for me.
Yeah, and I came on board at the end of August of last year, 2021. So it's been about 6 months since we started collaborating.
Yeah.
To now.
What interested you to join Silverleaf?
The scope. Like we really, I think so. But hopefully, I think some of the same thing that brought you on board. But I came on board when there wasn't really an idea of what it was going to be. We just sort of had like a few ideas kicking about, but it was really that sort of sense of scale that we were really embarking on something that was bigger.
For sure. Yeah, for me it was definitely like a culmination of many things that appealed to me. It wasn't just that the bar was in an amazing location and that the interior designer was world renowned. It was also that there were many minds combined for it. So Simo, the managing director of Milroy's, was very heavily involved in curating the spirits display. Chris and I had a full creative control from day one. So we hired the whole team, we wrote the whole menu. And we also had the benefit of having the hotel as backup as well. So Pan Pacific London were a great help all the way through in offering whatever resources we needed at any time.
And they still are. It's been really amazing how collaborative this project's been.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to ask you. I need to ask you about what are the weirdest order that you get?
I bet you've got a few.
Customer?
I'm going to have to dig through the memory trace
Yeah,
for this,
I don't know, man.
Let's come back to that question. I'm going to sit on that question over the next couple.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I can answer that now, I guess, or we can come back to it. I don't know what the weirdest order is. Everyone it's just what people drink. Because culturally, people drink all kinds of mad stuff, right?
People do drink a lot.
Red wine and Coke strikes me as a big one.
Calimacho?
But that's also that's just berating an entire peninsula of people, isn't it?
Yeah, come back to that one. I think that's an interesting one that I'll think about as we go through the next two.
What is your go-to drink?
Beer and a whiskey?
A beer? You mix it, but?
No, a little Boilermaker.
Oh, yeah.
Little drop of whiskey on the side of a beer. Maybe I'll have a margarita or a daiquiri if I'm feeling a bit frisky. But I don't really drink cocktails that much. If I go to a friend's bar and they have a new menu, I'm always respectful. I like to try the new menu. But as far as things go, I'm quite simple taste when it comes to going out. Feels like a busman's holiday drinking cocktails otherwise.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everything's got context. I like a glass of bubs and a shot. But
the water
everything's got context, right? You know, like if you're sitting on the beach, probably have a pina colada in it, a little blended strawberry daiquiri.
And then, so have you had those kind of customers that comes in and that's their first day of like having like alcohol, you know, the first timers?
Not necessarily first time having alcohol, but working in a luxury setting, we'll oftentimes get people that maybe haven't tried cocktails before, or maybe their only experience of cocktails is a Wetherspoons or whatever. So a lot of the pleasure comes from being able to not just blow their minds with how things taste, but also to educate and to get people to really understand where things come from and to understand the effort that goes into making cocktails at the top level.
And then what would you suggest for those people? Any drinks that, like, you know, the introductions to those?
It's definitely dependent on people's tastes. I think part of the joy of working behind bars is that you can have that conversation with people. You can say, do you like sweet drinks? Do you have a favorite spirit? Where do you go from that? And tailoring to those people's tastes is kind of a lot of the joy of the job.
Yeah.
Do you have the same ideas?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's too easy as a bartender to kind of like force your ideas on people when like realistically, so they're just here for a drink, right? So if someone's new to cocktails and build rapport, find out what they like and cater to their tastes.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's the first time, you know, your sort of lighter drinks, you know, not necessarily white spirits, but sort of your highballs, lots of fortified wines and light citrusy flavors, easy peasy.
And then I've heard it around a lot where in YouTube, especially, that people or bartender can actually tell people's personality by their drink order. Is that true?
No, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that at all.
That sounds like really problematic.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that sounds like the title of a BuzzFeed article to me.
Yeah,
and,
right.
It's not something that I would particularly agree with at all, especially in the last sort of decade or so, where we've started to see a big movement with, you know, Milroy's especially championing women's whiskey and all this sort of gendered drinks has been sort of hopefully thrown out the window as much as possible. Yeah. You know, I don't want people asking for drinks to be served in a manly glass anymore. I think those days are behind us. So to sort of say that a drink says something about someone's personality is probably in the same sort of thing, a bit dated.
Okay, that's brilliant. Lastly, I have a martini question. Shaken or stirred?
Stirred.
Stirred, yeah. Again, like it's one of those things where a lot of YouTube videos will probably tell you the wrong information or whatever, and I think a lot of this stemmed from the craze behind James Bond movies and the books. But any professional bartender will tell you that any martini should be stirred.
All right, that's all right, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, we need to answer the awkward.
Awkward drinks question.
Let me think. Let me think. Because I've been asked to make a lot of drinks. Right?
The worst orders are when somebody who obviously isn't a bartender or doesn't work in hospitality, but has discovered a cocktail from like 1700s or something, and they ask you to make it, and it's like, and the recipe is just like equal parts like cognac and gin with like a squeeze of sugar, and you're like, and they've just got a fancy name. But like, can I have one of those, please?
But the question is weirdest order.
What is the weirdest order?
I mean, to answer what the weirdest order is, I guess you have to define what weird is, right? And the thing is, at the end of the day, if people are paying for the liquid, it's probably not that weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, is it okay if I have ice in my whiskey? And
of course it is. It's your drink.
And I'm like, you can drink it upside down if you want.
Yeah.
Like, you're putting money in the till.
It's your drink, yeah.
I really try not to be like, this guy ordered a weird drink, but you know, even if you're ordering like £1,500 cognac and you're mixing it with Coke and you're asking for 2 ice cubes,
you paid for it.
At the end of the day, you're the one dropping hundreds of quid in my
Yeah.
So the answer is there is no weird orders, because if they're ordering it, they want it, and they're willing to be at my bar and put money in my till.
And then also ultimately we've got the great leveler, which is does it taste good, right? No one's going to order something that tastes terrible. So it might be a bit strange, but it's probably going to be pretty palatable.
For the one time a guy ordered a cocktail called a Gordon's Breakfast, which you should know is an ex-milk and honey drink, which is a gin caipirinha with Tabasco and Leon Parents.
Oh wow, okay.
And cucumber. Great.
Oh yeah, I've had somebody order, with all honesty, a Proust Cafe, like egg yolk, layered liqueurs,
Cool. Yeah, I think that just about covers it.
Thank you so much, everyone.